My name is David Snyder. Welcome to NLP Power / NLP Today / All Things San Diego. Tonight's meetup is called Secrets of Personal Transformation. It's an introduction to the world according to David, which means NLP, hypnosis, energetics, a lot of neuroscience, social psychology, aka stuff. Okay? But tonight's meetup isn't about me. I have a clinic in Solana Beach. I'm a licensed acupuncturist in the state of California. I'm a certified trainer in neuro-linguistic programming under the founder, Dr. Richard Bandler. I'm also a certified Reiki healer, pranic psychotherapist, DNA theta healer. I have an 8th degree black belt in the martial arts, as well as several other high-level rankings in other martial arts, including Sistema, Qigong. I do a lot of weird stuff that's really cool and actually works. But like I was alluding to before, and my specialty in the clinic in Solana Beach is or physical illness that has as its cause repressed emotion. So don't ask me about weight loss. Don't ask me about quitting smoking, because I get maybe one a year. I get the cool stuff. You know, people whose transplanted organs start talking to them, or hysterical paralysis, or we work with a lot of emotional stuff. A lot of physical symptoms that have an emotional basis. Okay? Today's meetup is about you. It's about helping you get on the road to what you want, to discovering how to tap into the amazing mechanism that is your nervous system, and learning how to really drive it. Learning the systems below the systems that create and manifest the events and situations in your life. For how many people is this your first meetup with me? Raise your hands. Okay, cool. Couple of things, couple administrative things. This means yes. This means no. There will be a test. This means I know the answer. This means I do not. This means, oh shit, I hope he doesn't call on me. If politically incorrect language offends you, get out now. If swearing offends you, get the fuck out now. Okay? If you like to have fun, you're in the right place. If you like to learn cool things, you're in the right place. What else do I need to talk about? Oh, yes. There is lots of coffee, water, and chocolate in the back. And it's the good stuff. We got Kit Kats, baby. We have done lots of psychographic testing, and we know what you want. Because whenever we mixed the Kit Kats with everything else, you would systematically go back there and they would leave everything but the Kit Kats. We even know what kind of Kit Kats you like best. You like the dark chocolate ones, then the white chocolate, and then you'll leave the milk chocolate for me. Bastards. How many people, is this not your first rodeo with David? Right on. Cool. All right. A lot of this is going to be review. How many people actually use some of the things you've learned in these meetups? Talk to me. What happened?
So I combine a lot of what you teach with my meditations.
Mm-hmm.
And I get deeper, faster results, and permanent results.
Oh, yeah?
For the most part.
Give us an example.
Well, the very first one that I've ever done was actually you did it on me, and you did the spinning technique for my shoulder, and a pain that had been in my shoulder for about 5 years disappeared, and it hasn't been back. So that was the first, oh shit.
Right on.
I'll do this myself.
Cool.
And then the second one was I used spinning technique on myself, and during my meditations, I was able to release a lot of trauma from my childhood, from my parents' divorce.
Nice.
So we all went back to when I was like 5 years old and released it, and it hasn't been back.
Awesome.
And I improved my relationship with my parents, which was great. And of course, I spent time.
Absolutely. Give a big round of applause. That was great. Who else has used something from our meetup? David, talk to me.
Well, I listened to the ideas that you propose and the techniques and let it filter into what I've believed before. And so somewhat similar to his experience, I can sometimes be in a troubled state of mind and convert it to something conceptually different, something that's easier to
Excellent.
deal with. Move it as a energy construct rather than suck it up and feel bad about it.
Yeah.
So,
Excellent.
and I've been able to make some ongoing progress with things that were really upsetting me.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. Then I'm doing the right thing. Who else has got something? Come on. Yes, sir.
I had a similar situation again. First time I came here, you definitely like spinning thing. Really bad. And I had like a neck pain for like 3 years. Just like a tight piece. It wasn't caused by anything. So it wasn't like an injury.
You had a neck pain or a tightness that wasn't caused by anything. I'm just doing that for the camera because the things are overhead.
And so I did your spinning thing and didn't really believe it, but I just figured I'd follow your instructions.
Uh-huh.
Cool. And it just kind of went away and didn't come back. And I'm like, well, crap, he's not a kook.
Crap, he's not a kook.
Now I got this.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't want to believe, but you can't argue with facts. So I still scientifically analyze everything you say because I don't want to believe anything spiritual, but the fact is there's something to it.
Yeah.
And it's still very useful. Like, I use it like nowadays just kind of for like stage control.
Yep.
Like a bad frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know, it's more or less trick your body into knocking that shit off. So it's like, all right, I guess I'll take advantage of that.
Thanks. Tricking your body into knocking that shit off. I'm going to use that. That's the title of my next meetup. How to trick your body to knock shit off.
It's a book.
It's a book.
You see a book in the future.
Right. What John said, actually, there was a couple of things that John said I want to kind of elaborate on. First of all, he said something that's very key. I didn't want to believe it. Here's the beautiful part. The things you're going to play with tonight, the things you're going to learn, the things you're going to work with, you don't have to believe it. You just have to do it. You don't have to believe it. You just have to do it. Okay? Now, I'm going to give you a few key elements that you have to have when you do it. Most of what we're going to play with tonight involves three things. A, following instructions. B, absorption and focus. If you can do those three things, and we're going to elaborate on what those elements are, you can have or make any change, mental, emotional, physical, that you want.
So I should have taken my pill before I got here?
Absolutely. We'll get you. Okay? The other part that John says is, I don't believe in anything spiritual. This is not spiritual. Okay? Although it does run parallel to a lot of what spiritual practices teach. Why? Because most of what spiritual practices are teaching us is just another way to express neurological principles, the way your mind and body actually work, the way the physical universe actually works. Okay? I didn't bring my computer with me, but on my computer, I have a 5-minute video clip of a table with 41 separate metronomes on it, and they're all set to pulse and move at different rates. And within 4.5 minutes, every single metronome on that table. Why? Because there are certain principles upon which the physical universe is based. Okay? The ancient masters and the yogis and the Buddhists and the Taoists and the Hebrews and the Kabbalists and all them people, all of their systems go back to a man by the name, or a character, an entity. We don't really know where he's from. Some people say he's Atlantean. Some people say he was a god. I don't really care. But how many people have heard of something called The Secret? Okay, read the book, seen the movie, throw it away. They left stuff out. You might have found that out when you tried to apply it. Right? We're going to cover that tonight. If you actually take some of the stuff you learned tonight, go back and apply it to what they taught you in The Secret, you'll find it tends to work a little bit better. Okay, but it's not spiritual in the sense that some deity is going to come down and bestow a mark of favor upon your head. Okay, it's just understanding principles about the way the universe and your nervous system actually work. Things that you can take hold of and begin to put into practice right away. But The Secret is based on a very ancient work called the Tabula Smaragdina. The Tabula Smaragdina, a.k.a. the Emerald Tablet, It was written by a man named Hermes Trismegistus, a.k.a. Hermes the Thrice Great. Okay? It is the same work upon which most Buddhist, Taoist, Kabbalistic, Huna, any form of actual energetic systems that are out there are based, including acupuncture and Oriental medicine. The principles are universal, and they mirror, for the most part, the laws of physics, the laws of quantum physics that we're just now discovering. They're parallels. So they're using slightly different models to describe what we are discovering. Your nervous system, is anybody here not made of atoms and molecules? Raise your hands if you're made of something other than atoms and molecules. Okay? That's called the physical universe. All molecular objects seek entrainment. They seek synchronicity with one another. When things synchronize, they start to communicate. And that communication takes place on multiple levels in predictable ways. So getting back to this whole metronome thing. Your nervous system is one big metronome, electromagnetically speaking, as well as cognitively. Okay? The biggest, you have an energy field in your body that can be measured from your heart about 8 feet in diameter. In other words, I can walk up to you with an instrument and I can measure your electromagnetic field 8 feet from your body. That energy field is pulsing because my heart is beating. Right? Well, guess what? His heart's beating too. At least I hope it is. And it's interacting with my energy field. So, at some point, we're all going to become synchronized. At some point, we're all going to be communicating not just consciously, but unconsciously, preconsciously, because our nervous systems are basically one big antenna. Our heart is one big metronome. It can't not happen. When we start to apply the law of attraction, you have another kind of synchronization that starts to take place. The law of attraction says what? What does the law of attraction teach us?
Law of attraction says that if you create positive thoughts, you'll attract positive things, whatever you think you create.
Okay. Is she right? Oh, shit, he's asking questions. I thought I was just going to sit here and veg out.
That's what they say.
That's what they say, right? That's what they say, right? Another way of saying what and she's right. Another way of saying it on a principle level is you will attract into your life the situations, circumstances, and events that vibrate or are in harmony with your dominant thoughts. Sounds like a great idea. There's only one problem. They didn't tell you what your dominant thoughts actually are. So they taught you to do affirmations. They taught you to put up pictures on the wall to look at. We think that our dominant thoughts are the ones we're aware of. We think our dominant thoughts are the ones that we consciously pay attention to, but they aren't. Our dominant thoughts are the ones that are constantly running below the threshold of conscious awareness. It's that little voice in your head. If you don't know what voice I'm talking about, it's the voice that just said what voice. Okay? There are levels to our awareness. There are layers to our nervous system. They all communicate either more or less perfectly or imperfectly. Just like the metronomes, the more deeply we can get all parts of us lined up and moving in synchronicity, the more rapidly we manifest the things in our life. Okay, we were talking earlier before a lot of you showed up about a guy by the name of Milton Erickson. Milton Erickson would tell his students and his psychologist, he was a psychiatrist, he was also known as the founder of conversational hypnosis. And he was modeled very, very deeply by the founders of neurolinguistic programming. And he would tell his people, your clients will be your clients because they're out of rapport with their unconscious mind. The secret works or doesn't work to the degree that your conscious thoughts line up with your unconscious thoughts. Those unconscious thoughts being beliefs, attitudes, imprints, things that you don't know are operating below the threshold of your conscious awareness. My job tonight, your mission, Jim, if you decide to accept it, is to follow the instructions and learn the building blocks of those thoughts so that you can begin to change them. Okay? So, we're going to talk about identity. We're going to talk about resistance. We're going to talk about the grid. aka the code, and how to work with it. Now, a couple of things before we start jumping into this. It's a crappy pen, a crappy marker. I don't want that one. A lot of what we're going to do involves actually getting up and doing it. Okay? Getting up and doing the work does not mean when I say reach out and reach out and touch something or point to where you feel it, that does not look like this. Okay? One of the biggest challenges that we have in most forms of change work is that we separate our mind from our bodies. If you go to a hypnotist, he's going to wave a watch in front of you, or he's going to talk you into a trance. Remind me, I got to talk about trance too, because we think we know what trances are, but we really don't. It's a lot to cover in a couple hours, huh? Too late. I've already done most of it to you. So. Okay. What was the last thing I said? Trance. Oh, that's why I freaked out, right? I looked out. You go to a psychologist or a psychotherapist. Right? I shouldn't say that because I'm going to piss somebody off. But you could also say hypnotherapist, so it's all right. And they're going to talk to you. And the theory in most forms of psychology is that if I can get you to some kind of conscious understanding for why you're, quote, fucked up being a technical term, mind you, that you'll somehow change it. How many people here have a problem that they want to fix? How many people here know what the problem is? Okay? Okay, that's first. We got to know what the problem is before we can fix it, don't we? How many people consciously know what the solution is? Like if you know you keep putting things off, right? You consciously know what you need to do, right? You know that. Like say you procrastinate. How many people procrastinate? How many never get around to procrastinating? Right? That would actually be useful, wouldn't it? If you put off putting things off, you know. You know, I get people say, I constantly sabotage myself. Well, what if you sabotaged your self-sabotage? Then you'd have to succeed. Oh, shit. Can you do that? Actually, yeah. Why? Because everything human beings do is a process. Every process has a structure and a code. And if you understand the structure and the code, you can change it. NLP, the technical definition of NLP, is the study of the structure of subjective human experience. What the hell does that actually mean? I spent 20 years trying to figure that out. As Richard Bandler says in the short course, it's the study of superior thinking. Okay? They must be doing maneuvers today. Everything human beings do is a process. Every behavior you have, every emotion, every feeling. It's not just something that just comes out of nowhere, that has no substance or no reality in the sense that it's ephemeral. It has a structure to it. It has a way of expressing itself. We're going to start talking about how your nervous system actually makes meaning out of the events of your life. But the first thing we have to cover is this concept of identity and identification. Okay? I'll come right to that after we finish the whole in your head versus in your body story. Most of us are stuck and most of us take too long to change because we're not using our bodies to do it. Okay? And I will graphically demonstrate that for you right now. When I asked before how many people had something they want to change, how many people raised their hands? All right? Cool. Excellent. How many people here are here if it's a less than positive thing? How many people here because there's a voice in their head? He's like, I'm not sure. The meds haven't kicked in yet. How many people here because of a picture in their head? How many people here because there's something in their life that makes them feel shitty? Oh, look at the hands. It's not the pictures in our head that cause us to take action or not take action. It's not the voices in our head. It's the feelings they create. Where are those feelings? Are they in our head? No. They're in our bodies. And yet, when we go to a hypnotist or a psychotherapist or a psychologist or a cognitive behavioral person, we're up here. I'm going to suggest, because that's what I do, that if you want to change things really rapidly, you need to get the body involved. Quick question. How many people here have ever been little children? You're still not sure, are you? So, there we go. And how many people here, when they were little children, played pretend? Cool. I have one, every now and then I get one guy who goes, no, I created computational models. I was never a child. First rule, you got to have fun with this shit. The power is in the playfulness. Okay? You take yourself too seriously, you're going to screw yourself up. So be playful. Seriously. I always wonder if the audience is going to get that or not. But you guys are smart, I can tell. All right? But the secret is when I say reach out and touch something, reach out and touch it. Even if you don't see and if you don't see a freaking thing, pretend that you do. If I say point to where in your body you feel it, point to it. If I say stand up, stand the fuck up. The more you get the meat involved, the more powerful the change happens. Anybody here, you can tell who the supernatural fans are because the moment I say meat, they know what I'm talking about. Right? You got to get the meat suit involved. Okay? Trance. Let's talk about trance. What the hell is a trance? Do you know what a trance? What's your name?
Kim.
Kim, I'm David. It's a pleasure. Welcome. What's a trance?
I would say that it's an altered state where you're a certain kind of focus.
Okay. Altered from what?
You're conscious every day walking around.
Conscious every day walking around something. How about you? What's a trance?
I'm not sure about, but what I just can picture or what I saw in movies,
Mhm.
what I understand is just like they get into, I don't know, the unconscious side
Mhm.
that makes you try to change something in the way of thinking or make you talk things that you didn't remember or
Mhm.
cannot express. I don't know about that.
Okay. How many people here have ever been in a trance that they know of? How many people here would know if they were in a trance right now? Yeah.
I
See,
always assume I'm in a trance when you're talking.
that's because you are. The trance started once you read the description of tonight's event. And this is an important distinction that we have to make. Human beings are trance machines. How many people here were little kids again? Cool. How many people here when they were kids played pretend? Excellent. What did you play pretend at when you were a little kid? Army? You liked Army, huh? Cool. How about you?
Fairies.
Fairies?
Yeah.
I guess I don't need to ask if you were a tomboy or a tomgirl, huh?
No, it's okay.
How about you?
I used to go in the back hill and sound the music like Julie Andrews.
Oh, nice! The hills are alive! Shut up! That was me in my yard. How about you? What did you play at when you were a kid?
Oddly enough, the Army.
So she was
I was.
a girly girl.
I did 15 years in the Army, though. So.
There you go. Cool. So when you were a little girl playing Army in the backyard, you were a little boy playing Army in the backyard, did you have a toy gun? Sure you did. And when you were in the backyard, you picked up, it was either a stick or a regular plastic gun, right? And you knew within 5 minutes of picking up that stick or that toy gun that it was just a stick or a toy gun for the first 5 minutes. 6.5 minutes later, it's an M60, you're Rambo, and you're blowing away bad guys everywhere around the corner, right? Were you asleep? Were you seeing the bad guys?
In my head, yeah.
In your head. Were you seeing the bad guys? Come out of trance. Yeah. Were you asleep?
No, I'm going to dream.
Nope. It was freaking real, wasn't it? Were you having a ball? Were you absorbed in the experience? Were you focused on what you were doing? Congratulations. If you can do that tonight, you can have anything you want, because you were as deep in trance as you'll ever need to go. Okay? Just like now. Come out of trance. Exactly. Okay? I cheat. I'm going to install this stuff in you no matter what. So the point is that another thing we want to talk about is we're still on the subject of trance. How many people have ever gone to a movie? Anybody here have a favorite movie? Okay, so see, one of the things that can hold us back tonight is this thing called hypnotist disease. And that we say it's hypnotist disease if you're actually trained in hypnosis or NLP. If you're not, we call it smart person syndrome. Smart person syndrome occurs when you're being guided through a process, and there's part of you trying to actually do the process, but there's this little tiny part of you kind of hanging out on the outside, wondering if it's actually fucking working. Right? Remember, trance has two components. Absorption in the experience combined with a continually narrowing focus of attention. When you were playing Fairy, or you were playing Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music, or you were playing Soldier, or whatever it is you were playing, you were absolutely absorbed in what you were doing. You were having a ball. True, not true? Right? You were absolutely focused on what was going on. True or not true? Right? That's what we need. When you have those two components, you have the phenomena that hypnotists, classically trained hypnotists, call depth of trance. To the degree that you have absorption and focus in what you're doing, just play pretend. Seriously. Play pretend. You can create powerful, rapid, neurologically based change. Your imagination, the ability to be absorbed and focused in a process, is the password to accessing the code that runs your nervous system. Getting the body involved activates more areas of your brain than just sitting in a chair imagining something. Okay? There's a science behind what we're doing. Okay? But it starts with understanding absorption and focus. Yes? You can think about it that way. Yeah. But again, it's being completely in it. Right? If there's a little part of you hanging on the outside going, is this working? Is it not working? Right? That's the part that's going to keep you stuck. Okay? So I'm inoculating you against that now. When I say get up, get up. When I say grab something and spin it, reach in, grab it, frickin' spin it like your life depended on it, because it does. Every moment from now on can be dramatically different if you follow instructions. And it can be fun. And it can be easy. And it can be fast. If absorption, focus, playful. Okay? Even the most traumatic shit in your life, we can change it. Okay? There's some of you here that can attest to that. This guy's seen stuff that's pure science fiction. You've seen stuff that's pure science fiction. He's binged pure science fiction. Right? Okay? So, if you are trained in hypnosis or NLP, then you have what is commonly referred to as hypnotist disease. How many people are trained in hypnosis or NLP? Raise your hands. Okay. Hypnotist disease manifests in a very similar way to smart person syndrome. However, what happens with hypnotist disease is, as we're going through the process, there's a part of us that's hanging out evaluating if it's working, the skill of the hypnotist, and if there's something we can actually steal. Because we're sluts that way. We're always looking for something we can steal and use, right? But again, the more there's parts of you hanging out, not engaged, that's the part that slows you down. Now, here's the beautiful part. You don't have to believe anything we're telling you. You just have to pretend and act it out. Because when you act it out, you override anything that would hold you back. If you get the meat involved. John's said it many times. I don't believe this. He's been to like 4 or 5 meetups now, and every time he comes up to me, he goes, I don't believe this, but it worked. Because you don't have to believe it. The change work that I do clinically is far too important to be left up to the wimpy belief systems of the client. I don't deal with things like weight loss and smoke cessation. I deal with chronic and terminal illness. Stuff people don't want to give up, but do want to give up. Stuff that nobody's been able to help them with. Everything from herpes outbreaks to cancer tumors. Okay? And all kinds of weird stuff that I didn't know I could do. It turns out the nervous system processes just about every dysfunction the same way. In the world according to David, disease isn't a thing. It's a process. A process is just a behavior. It's something the body's doing. And the one thing about NLP that NLP teaches us is you can always change what you're doing. When things become hard to change is when you become identified with the problem instead of realizing it's just something you're doing. In NLP, we have this construct or this principle called logical levels of belief. So at the top of the level, depending on which school of NLP you pull from, you have the spiritual level, then you have the identity level, and the belief level, and the criterion values level, and the deserving, and it just kind of trickles down. The one thing we find more often than not is that when people identify with their problem, in other words, I'm a fat person, I'm a smoker, I'm just unlucky. When you hear those "I'm" in front of any description, what you're hearing is somebody who views themselves as the same thing as the problem. Okay? So the first thing you have to understand is it's not you. You're not even the personality sitting in your head. You're far more than that, but you've become identified with a set of behaviors and beliefs that you're walking around in. It's like your favorite suit of clothes. You just put them on every day because they're comfortable and they're familiar. The brain sorts for what's familiar. Important concept. Okay? If the brain has a choice between failing, if you have 20 years of failing at something, and you have a brand new process that has a high percentage of success, and it has to choose between something new and unfamiliar with a possibility of success versus something it's very familiar with that has a 100% level of success in the wrong direction, guess what it'll choose? Mm-hmm. Your brain is hardwired that way. Okay. Now, the beautiful part is you can change that too. Anybody here ever hear of a concept called neuroplasticity? You have, of course. Neuroplasticity is the ability for your brain to rewire itself, for the ability of your nervous system to change the neurological connections so that you think differently, so that you learn. There are several ways that you can create a profound state of neuroplasticity. You can saturate the body with a substance called oxytocin. Okay? How many people know what oxytocin is? Okay. Oxytocin is often known as the cuddle hormone. Right? It makes you want to cuddle. It's released when you cuddle. It's the primary neurotransmitter in pair bonding relationships between mother and child, husband and wife. It's the primary mediator in trust relationships. The most oxytocin is actually released during sexual orgasm. Okay, so a lot of what we do in some of our advanced classes and some of our personal change classes, which we'll talk about, is we'll spend the first hour saturating your body with pleasure. Yeah, it sucks. It's a terrible thing, really. But literally, that's what we do. Is we saturate the body with joy, pleasure. If you want to do the orgasm stuff, you can. It's fine. We'll show you how to do it. You don't have to actually get naked to do it, because you just have to know how your nervous system works. But my point is that the more you saturate the system with pleasure, the higher the level of oxytocin in your system becomes, the more plastic your nervous system becomes, the more rapidly it changes. Okay? So you can hug for 20 minutes, tell lots of jokes, experience or remember intensely joyful experiences, have lots of orgasms, or you can go eat all the chocolate in the back of the room, because that's what it's there for. You think I put the chocolate out because I like you. No, I cheat. Oxytocin is laced in chocolate. So the more chocolate that you eat, the more fun you have, the more playful you become, the more the oxytocin... Go ahead, go for it, brother. I go through great lengths to make everything I do appear very natural and non-orchestrated, okay? But I cheat. My job is to help you change. As a professional, that's what I'm paid for, to help you change, either directly or indirectly, right? As long as you follow the instructions, I know I can help. If you don't, get the fuck out. Okay? That was a joke. But eat as much. We have lots of chocolate, and seriously, help yourselves. If at any time, if I forget to give you a break because I'm passionate about what I do, so sometimes I just keep talking and talking and talking. If your bladder's talking to you louder than I am, just go. Okay? Getting back to this identity thing. Remember something, and this is important. The memories that we're carrying around are only a problem because we've identified them or with them. A couple of concepts that are behind that. We're carrying, how many people have at least one shitty memory that kind of haunts them? Right? Here's where we talk about the concept of smart thinking versus stupid thinking. If you think about the past and it's not making your life better, and you have the tool to change it, and you don't, now you're being stupid. But why don't we change those memories? Why don't we change our memories?
I don't think we know how to.
Okay. We don't know how. Good reason. How about, yes?
Sometimes we don't want to go through them again.
We don't want to go through them again. Excellent.
It's like our experiences, and we don't want to just count that as anything bad or not useful. Like our life.
Okay. All very good. So we don't know how. What was the one you said? We don't want to go through them again. We don't want to relive the pain or or they're part of our, we don't want to lose the lessons.
Our life. We don't want to forget our life.
We don't want to forget our life, right? Yes.
Makes your body feel shitty.
Makes your body feel shitty. All great reasons. All true. Here's the problem, though. The primary reason that we feel shitty when we have those memories is because of the way they were coded and the fact that we believe that those memories are us, that they are the actual thing that happened. But they're not. Anybody here ever take a digital picture, like a really high quality digital picture? Or a movie? Like maybe it's like, it's 20 minutes of cat video or whatever, right? But it's saved at like 1200 by 1980, and you want to send it to grandma because the kids are so cute, and you zip that sucker up and you attach it to Yahoo or Gmail and you try to send that file. What happens? It chokes. Your email chokes, doesn't it? Why? Why does it? Why? It's too much information. The file's too big to be processed. Right? So what do? You take out the cat video, whip out your Photoshop program or your Adobe Premiere video editing program, and what do? You save that sucker down to a smaller size, right? So maybe you save it down to like, 320 by 480 or something tiny, right? We're talking about video because it's kind of multimodal, right? And you send that video to grandma, and grandma gets it on her big screen, and it's this freaking big, and she's like, I can't see that. I'll just enlarge it. And the cats disappear. Why? Why did the cat disappear?
Because there was not enough information.
Ah. See, anytime you save something down, you have to remove information. When you try to replay the memory, or when you try to replay the video, especially at the original size, there's shit missing. Right? There's information missing. Well, guess what? Your nervous system does exactly the same thing. In order for you to relive a memory, an event, there's a structure that it encoded in the first place. But anytime you think about it, anytime you talk about it, it has to delete information in order to communicate it. It has to distort information to communicate it. If I were to talk about, an experience, what's your name again?
Zoe?
Zoe. If I were to talk about my experience to Zoe, I'm using words. But that's what NLP likes to call the surface structure. Beneath that word are layers upon layers, books of information that aren't being transmitted. And so when Zoe hears my words, when you all hear my words, you think you know what I'm saying. But just to give you I'll give you a graphic example. I'll use a hypnotic language pattern so you can begin to kind of get what I'm talking about. I'm going to give you two very similar sentences. One is going to be hypnotically correct in terms of how your nervous system processes information. The other one is not going to be. It's going to be grammatically correct, but not hypnotically correct. And it's going to be nonsensical. And it's done that way so that you can pay attention to certain things. You ready? I'm going to do the wrong one first. This is how you... The dog that was orange galloped playfully. Okay? Now, when I said dog, how many people saw a dog in their head? How many had an orange one? Oh. What color was your dog? What color was your dog? What color was your dog?
Brown.
You didn't have a dog? What color was your dog? Red? What color was your dog?
Brown.
Brown. Why didn't you do what I told you? I told you to see an orange dog. Or did I? You see, the moment your system heard the word dog, it started a search. It looked for the word dog. It looked for every memory, every thought, every idea concerning the word dog. And it attached it to the word I gave you, and it spat that up to your awareness. And then, what followed didn't match.
I was going to ask a question because of the way you said it. Dog is orange, not the orange dog.
Exactly. And I did that to prove a point. When you have a thought, when you hear me say something and you think you know what I understand, you don't. Because all the information that's not said has to be supplied by your brain. Just like if we send Grandma the cat picture, the cat video, right? And she's like, it's 320 by 480. She blows it up, and it's now 720 by 1980, right? And there's lots of information missing. Now, if she's a retiree and has lots of time on her hand and is very tech-savvy, what do you think she's going to do? She's going to whip out the Adobe Premiere, Photoshop. She's going to start putting it back. She's going to try and retouch or restore the photograph. But when she puts it back, will it 100% match what we originally started with? No. She puts it back based on what she thinks is supposed to be there. That's what your nervous system does all the time. Every time you read, every time you hear, every time you process information from the outside, even from the inside, but for right now we're talking about communication from the outside, you're filling in all the missing data. And that data comes from your memories, from your life experience. Now, here's the beautiful part. The problem isn't that's going on, although that can be the problem. The problem is that we think that that video that we have, that we're playing in our head, or that lossy photograph, is the cat. That it is the thing that happened. But it's not. That's just a video. It's just a recording of Muffy playing with a ball of string. Muffy's out chasing mice in the backyard right now. Right? It's just a recording. It's not the thing that happened. So as Richard likes to say, the best thing about the past, ladies and gentlemen, is it's gone. It can't come back. And here's another very frightening yet exciting idea. You are the god or goddess in your world. You are the center of your universe. That gives you the right, the privilege, and the authority to change any memory in your life that isn't making your life better. Because all you're carrying around are a bunch of crappy recordings anyway. They're not the thing that happened. Heck, they're not even an accurate representation of the thing that happened. Neuroscience has been proving this for decades now, that your memories change as time goes on. So you actually have no clue what happened. And yet you remember to feel the same way every single time. How does that work? It works because that memory was recorded using a program that tells you what to feel and how to feel it every time you access it. Pretty interesting, huh? Everybody think of a time in your life when you felt amazingly good. Now imagine that there's a picture somewhere in the space around you. Reach out and touch the picture. That means reach out and touch the fucking picture. Now, notice as you touch that picture, trace the edges of it with your hand so you know how big it is. 2 hands. There you go. He's going to be fun. Right? Now, notice there's a place in your body where that feeling lives. Point to it. Right there. Grab the edges of your picture. You ready for this? Shrink it to half the size.
It's still all-encompassing.
Well, then shrink it smaller. What happened to the feeling?
Yeah, it shrunk.
It shrunk.
Yeah.
What happened to your picture? Shrunk. How about yours? Did it shrink or get stronger?
That picture?
Yeah, the feeling. When you shrank it, what happened to the feeling? What happened to the feeling? Oh, you're smiling now. Look at that. God, you mean the minute I took a picture that wasn't there and made it bigger, the feeling got bigger? But there's no picture there. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Take that picture. Notice where you feel it. Double the size of it. Whoa! It's supposed to be a good picture. All right. Now take it. Ready for this? Put it behind you. What just happened? What just happened to your feeling? You don't like it. What just happened to your feeling when you put it behind you? It gone. It went away. All right, bring it back. What the fuck? Now grab it, make it twice as big. As you look at that picture, I want you to notice something. Is it in color or black and white? First impression. Is it moving or still? Moving. If it isn't moving, make it move. If there's no sound, turn up the sound. Notice what happens to the feelings in your body. And when you're really ready for some juice, grab that picture and wrap it around you like a big blanket. What the fuck? Now you can leave it there if you want to, but it might be a little hard to concentrate. You ready to get it even cooler? Notice there's a place in your body where that feeling lives. Point to where you feel it. Everybody stand up. Close your eyes. Point to where you feel it. Notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color? First impression. Green. Good. Reach in and grab all that color with your hands. Physically reach into your body, grab it out of your body, take it out and hold it in your hands. Make sure you get it all because sometimes that shit hides. First thing I want you to notice as you look at it and hold it in your hands in front of you, did the color change or stay the same? First impression.
Change. Excellent.
If it didn't change, that's excellent too. Notice it's spinning in a certain direction. What direction is it spinning? First impression. Physically grab it with both of your hands. So if this is something you want more of, I want you to physically grab it, double the spin in the direction it's moving. Physically move it again. Keep doubling the spin. Double the speed, double the force, double the amplitude. Keep doubling it until it takes on a life of its own, until it's impossible for it to stop, impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Whoosh. Notice the change. How good are you feeling? There was no picture there! Or was there?
The memory.
Have a seat. Pretty cool, huh? We're just getting started. Now spin it faster. Notice what happens to the feeling in your body when you spin it faster. Whoo! She's broken out in a sweat over here. She's like, okay. Every emotion is connected to a memory or a feeling. It's a code. It's a video. That video or that recording has a structure. It's the structure that creates the experience, not the story. That's how your nervous system creates meaning from memory. It isn't the story of what happened. It's how it's coded. Okay? Every feeling that you have, or every memory that you have, has a feeling stored somewhere in the body. Good or bad. Okay? The first thing we need to understand is that all of our memories are just recordings of something that happened. They aren't us. They aren't the thing that happened. They're just a bad recording. And we can edit it. When you think about the past, wouldn't it be nice to only remember things in ways that made your life better? If you have any thought, any feeling, any belief that when you access it and you experience it does not make your life better, you have the God-given right and responsibility to change it. Make sense? And you can do that. Anybody here have something they don't want to feel anymore? Should we do this? Should I bring people up or should we do this as a group? Come on up here, Zoe. Is it okay to be on camera? Be famous? All right.
Yes.
And I'm not even, is this a physical pain or a physical thing or an emotional thing?
An emotional thing.
Emotional thing? Okay. So here's what I want you to do. Imagine that there's a picture. We're going to do two things, because one of the things that happens many times is when we create a memory, we have different types of memory. Okay? We have what we call semantic memory, and then we have episodic memory. So there's memory that records the event itself, and then there's things we derive from that memory, lessons or ideas or principles. So many times what happens when we go to, and it could have been, it could be a physical thing too. It could, I've done that. I've zapped all kinds of weird pains that shouldn't go away, and they do.
I actually do think, like, I've been having this thing down in here for a while, which is weird because my happy memory was right there.
Okay.
Like right here in my back for a while, and I think it's connected to this.
Oh, really? Okay, so
Yeah.
let's do that. Let's do that first.
Okay.
But what I'm doing is a technique called the magic frame, and it's specifically designed to do one thing. It's designed to extract from the memory or the experience the lessons learned. See, many times what happens when we go to get rid of a problem or we go to get rid of something, and a technique should work, and they go partway into it and it doesn't work, or it goes away and it comes back, it's because when you have an experience, the unconscious mind does not make a distinction between the movie, the structure, the lessons, and the feelings. It's lumped all together. And what the unconscious mind does is it holds things in storage until they can be processed, which is, again, one of the problems is we never go back and process this shit. We're like the bachelor who's got a hot date coming over, and the room hasn't been cleaned in 6 months. Pizza boxes everywhere, 6-packs all over the place. So what does he do? He puts shit under the couch, he throws it in the closet, anything to get it out of sight. He has his date, maybe it goes well, maybe it doesn't. 6 months later, he goes to get his bowling ball out of the closet. He gets hit with an avalanche, right? Welcome to the structure of most chronic illness. It's the stuff we don't express, the stuff we don't deal with, the stuff we pretend isn't there that comes back to haunt us. When you have something you want to say.
Maybe, I don't know.
All right, we'll think about it. We'll come back to it. So many times what we need to do, and I'm not saying that's true for Zoe, because I have found this many times. I just do this as kind of like housekeeping. If there's a lesson derived from that experience that you need to keep, I'm going to give you a process that allows you to distill out that one piece. Because in order to keep that one piece, because the unconscious mind is afraid if you lose that piece, you'll forget the lesson and it'll happen again. Like dating the wrong guy once too many times, or the wrong girl once too many times, right? So we keep that piece so you can keep the lesson and let the rest go. So there's a feeling that you have back here that you don't like? No.
Yeah, it's like right on the
Excellent.
tailbone.
I want you to imagine that in your space around you that there's a picture connected to that feeling. I want you to reach out and touch the picture.
Okay.
Excellent. Now trace the edges of it with both of your hands. Excellent. Now, first thing I want you to do is grab it by the edges, double the size of it. What happens to the feeling?
It increases.
Okay, so put it back the way it was. Excellent. Now put a big black frame around it. Big black frame. You're probably too young to remember when televisions actually had dials and switches and knobs and stuff. We all have remote controls and mind control shit now, right? Wii's and stuff. But along the bottom part of the big black frame, what I want you to do is I want you to find the dial or the switch that controls the brightness. And I want you to turn it all the way to the right so the picture completely whites out.
Okay.
Notice what happens to the feeling as you white it out.
Yeah, it changes.
Oh, wow.
It's like I have a color associated with the feeling, and the color is changing.
Excellent. Now turn it all the way to the left so it goes completely black. Notice what happens to the feeling.
Oh. It like dulls.
Okay, so which one makes it feel better? All the way to the right or all the way to the left?
The right is lighter. I'm not sure.
Okay.
They do different things.
Okay. So keep turning it
I
into...
think the white is actually over time.
Okay, let's do white then.
Better.
Turn it all the way to the white, on the right, so the white image is whited out. Now, in this finger, I want you to imagine you have a glowing golden Sharpie marker.
Okay.
Now, across that screen, there's a bunch of things that this experience had to teach you. I want you just to begin to write out whatever that was, good, bad, indifferent, so you can keep the lessons and let the rest go. Just start writing. The screen will scroll, so you can just keep writing. Keep going, it's all right. I've had people, my wife, you don't even want to know how long she sat here doing this shit. And she's probably doing it in Chinese. Keep going. Yeah. All done? Or you got more?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not sure if there's anything else. I think so.
Got it? Notice that happens when this picture shrinks down to the size of a postage stamp. Floats over your head and off, nailed into the past. What just happened? And keep the lessons and let the rest go.
It's a lot lighter. I can still feel like this one little spot, and it feels like a little black spot.
Cool. On a scale of 0 to 10, rate the intensity.
Probably like a 7.
Excellent. Close your eyes, point to where you feel it. Now, I want you to look at that spot with your inner eyes. I want you to notice there's a color connected to that feeling. What's the color, first impression?
Green.
Excellent. Reach in with both of your hands. Grab all that green energy, take it out, and hold it in your hands in front of you. Make sure you get it all, because sometimes that shit hides. Excellent. Now, you got it all? Yeah, see, I told you. It hides.
It's weird. It's like a little endless hole.
That's right. Just keep pulling. I figured out a long time ago, you just keep pulling. It's like taffy sometimes.
Yeah.
And there'll be a point when you got more than enough of it to change it.
Okay.
Cool. Excellent. Now, as you look at it with your inner eyes, did the color change or stay the same, first impression?
Change.
What color did it change to?
Yellow.
Excellent. Now, notice it's spinning in a certain direction. What direction did it spin in? Grab it with both of your hands. Physically turn it so it's now the opposite of what it was. It's moving the opposite of what it was. Now, double the spin. Double the speed. Double the force. Double the magnitude. Keep doubling it over and over and over again until it takes on a life of its own. Until it's impossible for it to go back the way it was. When you know you've got it, slam it back into that spot. Notice the change. Notice it's gone. Let the feelings come up. Let them come out. As you feel them, you reveal them. As you reveal them, you heal them. What's happening is she's just changed the code that creates that experience. As the code reinserts itself and it generalizes, anything that's not in harmony with the code has to be shed. So what happens now is sometimes they'll break out in a sweat. They'll start to have emotions come up. That's the venting and the shedding process.
I actually feel really nauseous.
Okay. Scale of 0 to 10, rate the feelings.
I feel really pissed off.
It's good. Excellent. Let it come up. It's okay to feel
I'm
pissed.
actually really mad. I'm really fucking pissed.
Yeah.
Ugh!
Let it out. This is okay.
Can I scream?
Yes, if you want to.
Okay. Ah! That felt good. Yeah, I just feel really want to get it out.
Yeah. This is why we get stuck. Because our society teaches us we're not allowed to express ourselves. Scale of 0 to 10, rate the feelings in your back.
It's like a 0.5. And in fact, I can feel that it's almost like it's draining. Like it's just kind
Try
of
to bring it back. Notice what happens.
can't. It doesn't want to.
Exactly.
It's like a shield.
Yeah, you usually get one of three answers when that process kicks in. A, I can't bring it back. They try to bring it back, it goes in the opposite direction. Or they look at me with a pissed off look, I don't want it back! Right? Scale is head over the head. How do you feel?
How do I feel?
Yeah. How's the back?
Oh, the back feels really good. The back feels really good. I can feel like a lot of energy just moving through my legs.
The whole system is reprocessing.
Yeah, like everything's kind of buzzy.
Okay. I'm going to let you sit down, and we'll come back. If you need to reprocess some other stuff that comes up, we'll do that. Okay. Give her a big round of applause. The acupuncturists say that when we have pain in the body, it's because energy isn't moving. There's two reasons energy doesn't move. There's either not enough of it, or there's too much. All emotions are energy in motion. The more we try to repress an emotion, we need an equal amount of energy to keep it in place. And that energy has to go somewhere. You'll find that, if you can do the homework on this if you want to, but they've actually discovered there are certain key places in the body where we store certain categories of emotion. I'm going to go out on a limb here. That anger you were thinking, did it have something to do with money?
Yes.
Who knew? Right? Every pain in your body is there because there's a code that's expressing information in that way. I don't need to know what her problem is. It sounds like I'm psychic, right? I'm not, although I do teach classes in it. But the truth of the matter is that every experience that you have, your nervous system doesn't care. As far as your nervous system is concerned, it's all the equivalent of ones and zeros. It will process pain just as readily it will process pleasure. But everything in your nervous system has a code and a structure that all levels of your nervous system have to understand. If you understand the code, you can change it. Pretty cool, huh? Oh, it's just going to get better. All right? The body is like the bachelor's closet. When we have a feeling that we like or don't like, there is a physical address in the body where that feeling lives. When we start getting the body involved, we start focusing different levels of our awareness to that place, we start lighting up the brain and the nervous system like a Christmas tree. How long have you had that?
It's been a little over a year, but it got really bad within the last year.
Okay.
And, but it's been for like 10 years.
10 years. What had you tried before to get rid of it?
Yoga, stretching. I mean, it was never anything like a pain. It was more of an annoying, like, throbbing that would pop up.
Okay.
Yeah, so it never felt like anything that, you know, and I'm a chiropractor. I've seen a chiropractor for a long time.
I saw one too, and then I married her. Okay. So one of the things, let's just review a little bit. We're going to take a 5-minute break or 7-minute break so you guys can use the restroom. I'm going to find a bunch of you in the restroom in the park going, I can't stop touching it! I can't stop touching it! Right? The beautiful part is you can all do this. You don't have to have me guide you through it, although I'm going to guide you through a couple of them tonight. But this is my gift to you. There is nothing that I have found that distilling out the lesson and then spinning it can affect to some degree. As long as you do 3 things. Follow instructions, become fully absorbed, and focus.
What if you can't remember the instructions?
You don't. Then replay my video. Then replay the video. Okay. I usually post the videos of the meetups on my website or on my YouTube channel. And I've had people all over the world say, "I just watched your video and my pain went away." Because you have this thing called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons take everything you see, hear, and feel, and they copy, below the threshold of conscious awareness, every physical activity that it's experiencing. The way they discovered mirror neurons was back in Italy close to a decade ago now, I guess. They had these chimps strapped up to some EEGs or EKGs or something like that, something that monitors brain stuff. Brain stuff, that's a technical term. And one of the apes, or chimps, was watching one of the lab assistants peel a banana. And one of the other lab techs noticed that as the ape was watching the lab technician peel the banana, all the parts of the chimp's brain that would be active if he were peeling the banana were firing. And that launched the whole study of mirror neurons, which they believe now is the physiological basis of empathic communication and understanding. They play a key role in the foundation of memory, of learning, and for some reason they seem to play a huge role in autism. So there's a lot of study on mirror neurons. So the fact is if just watching this stuff happen can actually change you. And I've actually had people contact me from around the world saying, I just watched your stuff and my pain went away. Okay, but you can learn it from the video, yes.
What was the relation to autism?
I'm not really sure.
No?
I'm not really sure. I didn't follow up on that, but I remember reading about it. Okay, there's a book called Mirroring Others by the guy's name is Giacoboni, Giacoboni. I can't remember his first name, but it's called Mirroring People. So if you want to look up that stuff, it's a good place to start. But the whole point is, if you can't actually use it for something, it's not useful. Mirroring Others, or Mirroring People, I think is what it's called. You can get it on Amazon. Okay, so let's take a 7-minute break. We've covered trance. We've covered identity and identification. We've touched a little bit on the grid and how this stuff works. We're going to go back and revisit it so you get a little bit more thorough understanding, and then we're going to start changing stuff, if that's okay. Is that okay? Yeah. All right, go play. Eat candy, lots of